handling the duties. Two fisting the mics, by the way. I have not seen the double mic call as of yet. I wonder where the second one was going. Kevnath really a savant when it comes to poker history.
He really is just the best at what he does.
Period. Joe Hashem, seated at the feature table, 2005 main event winner.
Welcome back to day 3.
Had an opportunity to speak to him through our Kara Scott prior to play.
2005 main event champion Joe Hashem back here at our feature table. How are you feeling going into today?
Really excited, actually, to be honest. Getting things on that, I've been saying all week, it's amazing how the main event just brings out the best in you, and everyone just, I don't know how you can miss this event, you know?
Does being on the feature table kind of get the juices flowing just that bit much more for you?
It does, to be honest. The picture table is really cool. I know my family's watching, and they're always trying to, keep up to date, because I don't want to try and keep them posted too often, so I don't know, my youngest son is in Barcelona holiday now, he's not going to be sleeping, he's going to be like...
They're all going to be watching the footage over here. It's going to be an amazing day. So,
We're going to kick things off at level 11. 1 and 2,000 blinds with a 300 ante, and that is your day 3 chip leader in 2016. Valentin Vornicu, who finished 23rd. So I wonder where our day 3 chip leader from today will finish. Only time will tell. And I know, Matt, you and I were chatting about some speculation as to whether or not the money bubble would burst today. Last year it burst on day 3, I believe, after the dinner break. But this year we drew a slightly larger field, not dissuading you from making a call, though. You think we're going to burst the bubble tonight?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that it'll burst by the end of the day.
5 levels will be played, each of which are 2 hours long. The average stack right now is 140,377, which is roughly 70 big blinds, with those blinds at 1K, 2K, but of course those antes add up as well. You get a glimpse at Reiner Kempe, who plays the biggest stakes tournaments he can find, a super high roller bowl regular.
4800, raise 4800.
That's the fastest I've ever seen him take action in all of my days of playing with him.
Really?
Yeah.
He's on the slower side of the spectrum?
I wouldn't put him so far into the side of like Byron Kagerman, but he is incredibly deliberate before taking any sort of action.
Oh, no?
For guys like me that play cash, yes.
Right.
It's like I understand thought needs to be taken into consideration. And honestly, I probably take more time before making flop decisions than most people, so I get it. But there's a certain pace to the game, and it can get a little frustrating whenever somebody's just kind of holding chips out.
Yeah,
and eventually
and then plops them down.
Yeah.
Well, the Germans, who are incredibly talented, a young crop of players who have really had some incredible results in fairly short order, all tend to skew toward that very slow and deliberate side of the spectrum.
I think it's like really clear that they're intelligent guys, and they understand that poker, just like anything else, is a marketplace, and they've found the soft spot in the market and have developed a strategy to just kind of conquer it.
Speaking of conquering, how's Ace-Ace-9 with Ace-10?
It's a great flop. It's just unfortunate he's against deuces. Although Casper might peel one here. He has to assume that if he gets lucky and gets a deuce, he can win a big pot here.
Yeah, Joel Casper does have position.
Oh, I take it all back. I didn't realize he only had 47,000.
Yeah, 53 to start the hand, 47 at this point, and 4,200 is the barrel from Reiner Kempe.
God, that's the worst feeling in the world when you're just like hanging on for all that you can in order to like go deeper in this event. Everything every pot means so much,
right?
And you look down at a hand like deuces, and it's such fool's gold because you're like, oh, I can't fold because I need to find a sure spot to gamble, so I'm just gonna set mine, and then it doesn't come, and you're just like, oh, I want those 2 blinds back so bad.
Oh, well, not to mention that
That's just your spot
a
bet.
flop like that, or maybe if you have a much deeper stack, you have some latitude in
Yeah.
position to float or
Right.
play at Reiner. But in that spot, you just have to concede.
I mean, yeah, it's just like most people are going to be playing a 10 to 20 big blind stack, pretty much strategy free, right? Like they're either just going to look for value hands to double with, or they're going to like try to peel some cheap flops like he did with deuces.
And the green chips are no longer in play as we get a look at our chip denominations. Blacks are 100, light blue, I believe, or gray, 500. Yellows are 1,000, orange, 5,000. Light blue or gray? What are we going with?
It's very blue. That graphic doesn't do it justice, I don't think.
And you know that because, of course, you participated in the main, and we were rudely cutting you off. You ran a foul on day 2 AB, day 2C
Day 2C.
yesterday.
Yeah, I honestly probably I won't use the word deserve, but I'm shocked that I made day 2. I was as low as 9K on day 1. Just really nothing went well the entire main event.
And you were fighting anything that you wish you could do over, not being results oriented, but perhaps just some lines you took that.
No, really, I just made a lot of second best. My bust hand is probably a little questionable. I squeeze shoved for 28 blinds with pocket fives in a spot where I was really confident it would work, and the final caller in the hand called me with sixes.
No.
Yeah, for
how much?
it was roughly 20% of his stack. I shoved for 28 bigs, but honestly, I should have expected it. He came in as like a massive table chip leader anyway. He had like 250K, and he had bled down to like 140. So he was going to go one direction or the other, and pocket sixes was too good to hit the mark.
Speaking of one direction, Jonathan Kyriakides with the ace king.
That's such a sigh of relief after not getting there with the deuces. You just look down at a premium and just shove it home and get those blinds recovered.
Well, it was Joel Casper with the deuces.
Oh, wow, we have a couple guys here.
Yeah, right. You see the chip stacks at the top of your screens, not in seat order, but rather in order based on size, 1 through 9.
Yeah, so it is kind of an interesting dynamic.
Quick tournament summary, and we'll get to that dynamic, Matt. Field is combined today for the first time after days 2AB and days 2C. Merged. We talked about our chip leader, R10 Dedusha, 680,000. And some speculation as to whether or not the bubble burst. Some very notable players also fell by the wayside. Several former main event champions. One that's still in the mix, of course. That man right there, $7.5 million back in 05. I wonder what $7.5 million in 05 is like in 2017. What do you think? Is that like 10 million today?
It's either it's 10 million if you invested it right, or it's like 6.2 with inflation. I guess it depends on how much crypto he has,
Right. That's the big play that everyone in poker seems to be making now. Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic in the sense that, this deep into the main event, usually you'll see a lot of average to above average stacks.
Nice answer.
Where here we see the chip leader just barely has above the average stack. He has about 75 blinds.
Fine, like nobody's going to be.
There are a lot of stacks that are sub 20, or I guess sub 30. So the play here should really be relatively tightish / looking for spots to shove and reshove. Palmer and Szabo will kind of be in spots where they're looking to pick off these short stacks as best they can.
2 ways like a minute before.
Palmer, the chip leader, opens to 4,000 with the ace-7 off.
It's actually a really great spot for Kempy. I think his experience is going to...
Oh, it's a 3-bet. I apologize, from the button to 11,300 after the open from Gary Gwartney with the king-9 in the cutoff.
So I was actually just about to say this about Kemper. I was going to say his experience will allow him to put a lot of pressure on these other stacks. But Palmer went ahead and did it here as well with a really raggedy hand, but a good spot in position versus a smaller stack.
And he's rocking that Max Pescatori sort of eyewear there. Flare.
I'm not a general fan for sunglasses on the table, but if you're going to do it, he's doing it right.
Can I get a iced tea with lemon?
And there is Reiner Kempe, who you mentioned has tremendous experience. Looking quite comfortable with that 144,000 chip stack.
I don't think we're going to see a lot of flops today.
You get the feeling, based on just the chip counts and the personnel,
Yeah.
that we're going to get a lot of free betting and take it.
I know Hashem likes to play a lot post. I know Kempe really doesn't. And I'm not really familiar with anybody else at the table, but just given the stack sizes,
something special.
it's going to be really difficult for these guys in the 40 to 75K range to really be taking a lot of flops. And these larger stacks are very incentivized to just 3-bet pretty much any time that they have the card distribution to do so, or the position where they can just lean on guys. You kind of just saw it a moment ago. Where was it Courtney that opened?
Yes, it was. King 9 suited in the cutoff.
Yeah, and that's a very reasonable hand to open. He should be opening it, but his stack doesn't really allow him any sort of maneuverability. So he's kind of just like put into a situation where he has to hope his opponents are just like going to let it get through.
Well, the other thing for him to be wary of is that if those opponents are going to show a propensity to 3-bet with awareness of the dynamic in the situation, he's going to have to make the adjustment and maybe open much tighter.
Right, and well, so that's one adjustment, right? The alternative is to 4-bet shelf light.
Sure.
But certainly in the main event, a couple levels outside of the money, we're very unlikely to see it skew that way. And that's the thing, right? If he just starts opening tighter, if he's mucking King 9 suited from the cutoff, where is he making chips?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the plate that most of the field as a whole, who aren't experienced in 10Ks, run into at this juncture of the event. There's no seemingly easy path to profitability. It's kind of just like sit around, wait, hope you wake up with the nuts.
Speaking of paths to profitability, Hashem, who opened with ace-8 offsuit, his flop middle pair, doesn't look to be profiting in this situation up against Reiner Kempe's pocket tens, but there are 3 players in the pot.
I'm really surprised that Kempe just called. I mean, I guess given stack dynamics, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, roughly even between the two of them.
Yeah, and he has a stack that he wants to accumulate, but he wants to find effortless spots to do so. He doesn't want to be like in an awkward scenario where facing a 4-bet here, he kind of doesn't know what to do with tens.
And speaking of awkward scenarios, Hashem with that 5,200 chip bet on the light side, and a player behind Kempe still who defended.
So this is really popular now to down bet. That's what the kids are calling it these days. But to choose a sizing that's at or around what you made it pre-flop. I think this is a pretty poor board to choose that type of sizing with, but I understand why he's doing it, because being that it's a 3-way pot, now he gets to use the third player in the pot as leverage, right? If he's willing to lead into the field, now that should shrink the strength of his opponent's hand behind him. And if, say, Kempe has a hand like 7s or 9s or even 10s and just elects to feel kind of pressured into folding because he's worried about the player behind and the fact that Hashem showing aggression, now the best hand folds and the third player is unlikely to have anything. We didn't see that happen here.
27,000 in the middle, and now what do you do if you're Joe Hashem?
I mean, he's just going to have to completely shift to check, call, check, fold mode, I think. This is really, really difficult to keep up aggression.
And expensive, by the way, as the pot is at 27,000, a meaningful bet.
For sure.
Require at least a number like 11,200, if not a touch more, perhaps, to get the tens away.
Right. I think if you want to put pressure on one pair type holdings that have you beat here, it's going to have to be a little bit more. That's clearly not what he's targeting. He's targeting hands like Jack 10, 7, 9, and it actually works here. So
well done.
To Jeff. Yeah.
And I remember a time in the game, Matt, I don't know about you, where that would never get through. That bet was just such that you couldn't get 2 tens to fold. They would at least call the turn, and then if you sized really far up on the end, then maybe you get away.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of surprised that we saw Reiner lay it down.
As we get a look at Juan Carlos Mortensen, former main event champion. 72,000 in front of him. 2001, I believe it was, when Carlos took it down.
And Bubble Boy on what was it, 2015? He got 10.
I think you may be right. Yeah, he did bubble way later, way down the line.
JC Train year. He got 10.
Do you think we'll ever see in the modern era this back-to-back, or not back-to-back, even just two-time repeat champion?
No.
That's one.
I mean, I'm saying no definitively. Anything's possible, but like,
Right.
what Newhouse did was
That's giving you
pretty insane.
And let's not forget Raymer, who I think qualifies certainly as the modern era, made a very deep run following his.
I think you'll see a lot of that. I think you'll see a lot of like back-to-back deep runs. Maybe we might even see like back-to-back final table. It's just so improbable.
Back-to-back final tables is certainly far more likely than winning it.
Sure.
Twice. Even not back-to-back.
Don't do it, kid. I thought you did it the other day. Don't do it. Have you looked at it?
But going back to that Rayner hand against Hashem, I think Rayner would
Maybe.
actually consider a call with pocket nines there. But it's folding tens because he's kind of blocking what Joe's most likely bluffs would be in Jack 10. But if his pocket nines, he can actually call one more, getting a ridiculous price. He's getting almost 4-1.
Nice deuce right away. I don't want to say the second time after that. What if it's a deuce? No gang.
So still early on in the action as we take a peek at, oh, look at that. Little canine teddy bear. Little fluffster. Service animal, no doubt. And Joe Stapleton was hanging out in the hallways before play began today. Let's send it down to Joe.
So I'm standing here with Iverson Snuffer, and despite the fact that he already has the name of a hitman, he's dressed like Heisenberg. Why?
Well, I was at a poker tournament in Cincinnati, and I wore a baseball hat, and the guy had a hat about like this one, and I said, let me wear it, and it didn't fit, so the next day he brought me a hat, and I started wearing it, and I went to the Borgata to play in another tournament. I'd never heard of Breaking Bad, and I was sitting at a table, and the guy said, hey man, you been cooking in crystal meth? And I was like, what? And so that's how it came about.
Well, you don't exactly sound like him, but just for the camera, can you say I am the danger in your best Heisenberg impression?
I am the danger.
I'll tell you what. The guy who asked him if he was cooking any crystal meth is lucky that played out as mildly as it did, because without any knowledge of the show, that's a pretty aggressive line to take on someone. Iverson Snuffer, that's definitely a mercenary caliber name. No doubt about it.
In the guy's defense, it's probably pretty safe to assume that everybody has seen Breaking Bad by now.
Yeah, such a great show.
I thought we were reading RFID.
Fess up if you haven't seen it, by the way, on Twitter, so that we can just mock you
I haven't seen
incessantly. No, you have seen it.
I have not seen it.
Berkey, are you kidding me? Get out of the booth.
Yeah.
Put the headphones down and leave. Go watch it. Whenever you're done, return.
All right,
Unbelievable.
that's what I'll be doing now in my off time.
It's not time wasted, I'll tell you that, as we take this flop. Four-way and a raised pot to 4,500. 10-9-6 with a couple of spades.
Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about. We just saw a three-way pot, now a four-way pot. So these guys are going to gamble a little bit more than I thought. But these are all reasonably strong hands.
The pre-flop action. Kempe opened to 4,500 and was called by Casper and Gwartney. And Cardin called from the big blind, defending with the ace-3 suited. And some interesting and meaningful connections between everybody but Cardin and the board.
So this is kind of like what I was speaking to before, where people are really clinging to life in this event, more so than any other in the world. Casper's hand is just a shove. And I'm not saying that authoritatively, like, he's making a mistake. I get why he's calling for sure.
Much like with the deuces earlier.
Yeah, you just you want to see a safe one. You feel like you can work a C-bet through in this multi-way pot. It's going to work, for sure. You want to...
You mean Gwartney wouldn't appeal? No chance?
off
With the
40K.
king jack?
I mean, you know, just the stacks just don't allow for it.
Not enough implied odds if you get there, I guess, and you don't have the spade.
Well, what can he do? I mean, he has like less than a pot size bet behind, you know.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna like float a gutty. You know, the game really changes when you get the short stack play, and the sick thing that we all lie to ourselves about is that somehow we can control the variance and volatility, which just simply isn't true. So, you know, he looks down at pocket eights and he says, well, like, if I shove, I don't want to flip. I can control this variance of the flip by just seeing a flop. And then he sees a 10-9x board, and it has 2 overs, but it looks safe. So we stab, and it's like, it worked that way, and it just furthers that narrative of, I avoided one there, you know? And truly, he kind of did, but there's just no way to know that.
Getting a look at our Dollar Shave Club outer table chip counts right now. Jonathan Goussiers. I hope I'm not butchering that. We don't have a clear pronunciation yet. We're working on it. Almost 200,000 in front of him. Chino Reed, look at that. 430.
No shot.
Chino has some incredible results. No shot, he said?
No, I said no shock.
No shot, right.
He's a chipped vacuum.
Raise 51.
And we're going to stick with this outer table where Konstantin Puchkov has picked up aces and makes it 5,100 to go.
I would have commented sooner, but I wanted you to pronounce that name before I got
I appreciate you letting me walk out onto that very flimsy branch as it collapses between my feet.
When you start getting that many consonants in there, and you add a V, I'm out.
You're that's the upper boundary of what you're willing to
Or
take
if you start a last name with an X, I'm done.
right.
I have nothing to bring to the table.
Is it Zoo? Is it Shoe?
Also.
Xavier?
Yes, baby.
What is it? Somewhat of a light call here with Queen Jack off suit for Goussiers.
Well, he's going to get punished to the max. Rotundo went ahead and squeezed with the old 8 high.
Oh yeah, look at that. Christian Rotundo is in for some bad news here. As Puchkov comes back over the top. An unnecessary 4-bet here with 2 aces, just so darn strong.
Man, again, it's just like under the framework of it being the main event, there's just like so many things change from what's ideal. The gravity of the moment is just so large that you don't want to gamble. You know, you want to remove any aspect of gambling. And moreover, like,
But that's a fear-based decision, isn't
100%.
it? I mean,
100%.
and I don't know that
We're
that's
fear-based
beneficial.
creatures, though.
Sure, no doubt about it. But
That's how we got this far.
That's it, right? But no, I mean, I think to be
Nice.
fair, what separates the top-tier professional from perhaps somebody who's middle-tier or even amateur is the willingness to put that fear in check and recognize the discipline necessary to do things that are incredibly uncomfortable.
I think
that's what I think is the line that separates.
I think you nailed it. I think from elite down, you can see a tearing down process of how much fear plays into the role of decision making. And you know, he doesn't do anything wrong by shoving aces there. And honestly, it probably may show the biggest return because, in theory, 8 high should be continuing to bluff somewhere throughout the course of the hand.
And depending on the board texture, could have an opportunity to get through aces.
Right.
But you have to take that chance.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But moreover, what I was going to get to is I'm not so sure that there's a follow-up, right? I don't know if there's really a plan with the 8-7 high. I think it's just, let me squeeze with a hand that's disguised, and now the pot to stack ratio is 2. So I'm just going to try to, you know, make a hand now that he's continued in any facet.
Konstantin following up that last pot with an open, sitting on King Queen, and another Queen Jack.
I think that's why I busted the main, actually. I dealt very few King Queens. And I had a lot of pocket jacks. And if I had the choice, I would choose the King Queen.
Sure you would, when King King Deuce rolls off.
This is what
Why
I'm talking
not?
about.
And this could be a troublesome little flop here with 2 spades in Goussier's hand. I think that is now officially the 4th manner in which I've pronounced his last name. And another spade on the turn after it went check, check, which of course is going to disguise the strength of both players' holdings.
I'm really surprised that, I'm going to give it a whirl, Puchkov went ahead and checked the flop. I understand the desire to slow play, and it's a very static board, so, you know, the understanding is that, like, you're not going to get very much action from too many hands, but it is a multi-way pot, and you're not really giving your opponent much opportunity to make a mistake, because in reality, what turns and rivers are we going to see that's suddenly going to allow you to play a massive pot?
And a relative blank on the end, the 3 of diamonds.
Yeah, this is going to cost him another bet for sure.
Are you surprised at the check call on the turn, or is that kind of just a milky, I think my opponent is super light, why not let him fire another barrel here?
Puchkov bet the turn, correct?
Yes, but
you
position,
mean,
I believe, right?
no, he's out of position, right?
Oh, he let out. Okay, but
Yeah,
the flat call behind with the flush, designed to milk on the river here?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I was gonna say what would be really interesting is when Puchkov bets the river, will Buceri's raise? And on a board texture like this, I think he absolutely can and should, because Puchkov's king X's are very likely to be ace, king, and queen.
Oh, hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, how are you?
Come in.
Hey, Sam here?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's, I think, in his room listening to loud music and wasn't hearing anything.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that is faced with a big enough bet on the end to where he gets away. I mean, we've certainly seen some very big laydowns.
For sure. Yeah, pretty much it would have just came down to what sizing Buceri's chose on the turn, because if Puchkov bets flop and gets called, then the turn to spade, now it's very likely to just check all turn and then check the size with it.
And here's the first look at our second outer table, which features Alan Cunningham. Bumped into Alan over at the Bellagio a few days ago for the first time in what felt like forever. He was a fixture for many years during the full tilt era. 176,000. You know, the kind of guy, when people really fit in that, they will get so into it. It's so easy to get down. It's so difficult to get down.
I remember when I was a young buck, he was one of the guys that, just the way his image was portrayed, I really like gravitated towards. Like I like how calculated he seemed to be.
Very cerebral and analytical.
Yeah, and when he made the final table, I remember I was just like so dejected. I believe he like made a huge hero fold with pocket tens where he was bluffed by Victor, and I was just like so bummed out. Like it was like watching, it was like watching your hero crumble in front of your eyes.
Right. Nice flat piece rainbow on this board. Ogres everywhere.
This is way more fun.
But don't make it expensive from the big guys.
And something reasonable again was in a 1,500 no limit where he's 10 hours into the event instead of 3 days. He's just shoving this. I'm relatively certain.
So it's the main event factor that dissuades him from pulling the trigger in somewhat the manner that we discussed, separates the top tier professional from those below said tier.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, you play enough too that I'm sure you could speak to this. It's an unnerving feeling when suddenly you kind of like lose your scruples and you can't find your North Star anymore because you don't know what's right. You don't know.
Sometimes you do know what's right, and yet it's so difficult. And I specifically remember a moment in time in my past where this happened, where I was heads up on Poker After Dark against Mark Gregoris, and in I believe it was the first hand of heads up play, I had a King 4 offsuit on the button, and it's a winner take all format, so it's not like we're in the money.
Yeah.
And those implications, coupled with the unfamiliarity of a situation like that. The size, the value of that win at that point in time, And I just mucked it, and I knew what I was supposed to do.
Right.
And I still just mucked it. And then the very next hand, he moves all in from the button, and I call the queen jack.
Yeah.
Like, it was reverse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. And this is like kind of the stuff that we talk about, both in my group of friends and the academy that I lead. It's you can prepare as much as you want for the nuts and bolts analytics of poker, right? Like, analytically speaking, what you're supposed to do with X amount of lines on the button with king 4 off in a heads up scenario, right? But what people aren't doing enough preparation for is the moment. You have no idea what your follow through is, I guess, with that exact same scenario in a spot where it's a life changing moment.
Right.
Right? And like that's something that can be worked on. And I think it's something that's like largely taken for granted in the strategy world where it's like, well, you'll just implement. It's like, well, no, we have to teach implementation just as much as we have to teach the mechanics. You have to prepare somebody for these large scale moments. And, that was really the biggest emphasis when I was prepping for the super high roller.
Right, and I want to get to that, but perhaps an example of this, Chino Reen, who defended from the big blind against the open of Puchkov with just king 10, check calling on the 3-3 deuce board, perhaps having a sense of his opponent, and though he's out of position, he's comfortable and he's floating. Yeah. Little things where you might be able to pick up pots, particularly when your opponent has just 10 high, and generally may not be willing to fire the second barrel, which Puchkov has, by the way, to his credit here.
Yeah, I really think that this is a great two-barrel by Puchkov, understanding that, this is his board, and Chino's just going to have nearly no hands to call twice with. That's very astute, and it's really good implementation of exactly what we're talking about.
And Chino put him to the test right there. Is the man going to be able to implement? Because such a vast majority of the time, he hasn't connected in any meaningful way to the board of 3-3 deuce.
Right.
Though there is a flush draw and straight draw out there.
Who's passive? What the fuck?
And he did it, and perhaps that would explain why Puchkov has the stack that he has on him, 61 and change. Right around the average to start the day.
Nice.
It's easier said than done at times.
So very hard to collect all these betting discs.
Amazon Coins final table payouts. A look at them there, and let's resume that conversation in your prep for the Super High Roller Bowl.
I'm curious.
You were focused on that implementation aspect, reminding yourself of, despite the fact that it's a 300K, I've got to still execute the way that I would otherwise.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of like a two-part procedure, right? It's like, I feel very sound in my tournament strategy. That's not what we need to work on. What I need to do is familiarize myself with my opponents and their strategy, but moreover the environment that I'm going to be putting myself in, because it's very foreign to me, right? I don't play high rollers. And if I just am arrogant enough to assume that I'll just adapt to my environment as soon as I'm thrust into it, well, I'm just making like massive errors, because that won't happen, and I'll misstep. I'll be uncomfortable. I will get overtaken by the moment, and I think understanding that leading up to it, it became something very easy to prep for. You watch enough hand footage where you're like, well, what would I do if I were in that scenario with that type of hand, with that type of range? And you just break it down backwards from there. And it's like, but now all of a sudden when you're actually looking this person in the face, you don't feel so, I guess, like overwhelmed by the fact that busting this thing means that you just lost a house.
Basically, and I appreciate your willingness to be honest and forthright about the reality that at some juncture, it does creep into the psyche and the consciousness. It can't not. It's just about disciplining yourself to not let it then subsequently affect you.
Right.
Because who can possibly, I mean, maybe Reiner Kempe. Maybe Reiner Kempe's a guy who's like 300,000. It's only like 200,000 euros. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
I bluff my whole stock.
Well, but, Igor kind of spoke about this on a podcast. They do...
Kurganov?
Yeah. They do
Who won a bracelet in the tag team with Livebury this year.
Congratulations to them. I thought that was basically a proposal.
All right. What better time? They're like, I'm going to propose to you using this bracelet. Quick reminder that you're watching exclusive coverage of the World Series of Poker main event here on Poker Go. Next month, we're going to keep bringing you the best in live poker in the form of Poker After Dark, the return after a 6-year hiatus, exclusively here on Poker Go beginning in August. Just head over to pokergo.com for the full schedule. And Igor was talking about
So the way that like whole crew of Germans or however you want to frame it go about attacking these high rollers is they mitigate their risks. So there's basically a fund that's taking on a lot of the risk, and then each of them have a small proportionate amount of the risk. So the money truly doesn't matter in the moment, and that does allow them to create an environment where they're just stone cold killers. And that kind of like leveraged aspect of being able to risk more than you're comfortable with is removed.
It's like if you're a hedge fund manager, the money's not all yours. Obviously, there's still a lot of pressure, but could you possibly take your own bankroll and make that $1 billion trade or speculative short or whatever it is? Probably not. So, you think that's an unfair competitive advantage?
I think it's fair. I mean, it's the business world, right? Like, not everybody has the same funds or means to.
But in poker in particular, right? Because poker's not the business world per se. Some people approach it like a business and a profession. Certainly, there's no doubt about that.
Sure.
But I think there are certain assumptions about people being on their own bankroll, which certainly don't ring true.
Right.
But is that something that you have personal feelings about? Perhaps creating dynamics that shouldn't be out there?
So there are a few sides to this coin, I guess. I personally just wish people were more transparent about it. I wish that there was some sort of like open door policy where everybody was rather divulgent as to like how much of themselves they had.
Sure.
And the only reason, well, I think that's important for two reasons. I think it's important for the growth of the game because I think largely people are very interested to know what's going on behind closed doors. But moreover, and this is the other side of the coin, I think it's important when you play these like small field high rollers, right? So, for instance, if player X only has 2% of himself and he swapped 10% with player Y, and they're both at the same table because it's a 25-man field, well, that becomes problematic for the other 7. Not to the sense that it's cheating, but to the sense that it's a little unfair.
Well, I get the sense Joe Hashem has all of himself after that $7.5 million he picked up in 2005, but unless he's got some serious leaks. 51 years of age, looking good, by the way. 26 cashes in his career, and the one bracelet that mattered. Total live earnings in excess of $12 million, by the way, so he didn't stop at that 7.5. He's been a fixture on tournament circuits. And have you ever been down to Australia for the Aussie Millions?
I haven't. I plan to go this January. My nephew just graduated.
Shit, was my then.
So he's actually going to move out here with me and help me with some of the business stuff, and then we're going to do a little bit more traveling. So
you guys are going to head down?
I'm planning on booking Australia, maybe hit some EPTs. I've never really traveled any of the circuits.
It's a good time. If you haven't done it, it's a good time. If you've been doing it for years, I think it starts to burn you out a little bit. But especially when you got your nephew in tow.
Yeah. It'll be one of those things where, I make a 2 or 3 week thing out of it rather than just however many days.
How old's your nephew?
18, yeah.
I think legal drinking age is 18 out there, so you might want to pack some hangover medicine.
Neither one of us has actually ever drank.
Really? Join the club. Me neither. I don't drink.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've had before, but I've never been drunk.
Yeah, I've literally never had a sip, neither has he, to my knowledge.
With me, it's just a function of, I have very little inhibition to begin with, so let's cling to it.
Yeah.
I would probably end up incarcerated.
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. I'm very much the same. It's like, I don't like the idea of altering my state of mind. Like, I like my conscious thought. Yeah. I don't really want to change it.
I mean, certainly, if that was already the way you were before you got in poker, great, just continue. But I think certain people also recognize that it's probably not in your best interest when you're needing all of your faculties to, to be out there gambling at the stakes that you're gambling, especially you're a cash game player.
Yeah.
Under the influence of that.
Yeah, especially guys my age, because it's really is a completely different environment than 2003. You really could get away with murder. And so, I'm sure a lot of guys who came from that era were used to being under some sort of influence and just crushing.
Really? You suspect that back then there was a lot of, hey, Scotty baby, I'm on my 9th Heineken, and sure, let's do this.
Heineken, pot, like whatever the case may be, there's just like a lot of, really the only thing you needed to win was to calm your nerves. And I think a lot of intelligent people were just kind of dulling their emotions and just going in there and crushing.
You know, as we see Neuter here with the pocket fours, opens on the button to 4,000, and Kyriakides looks like he has some designs on movement, and he does indeed. Queen Jack is his hand, by the way. I mean, this is what, the third or fourth one he's had.
I gotta tell you, this is a man who is just ready to
He got snap called, I think. Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's I guess it's button versus blind, so that makes it a lot easier.
But you were saying about Kyriakides.
I was just gonna say he's going to play theoretically correct. If he's reshoving Queen Jack, he's not concerned about busting the main event prior to the end, which can very much serve to be a big asset should he double through here.
And conversely, Timothy Neuter was not obligated to make this call with the 2-4s necessarily. He'd only opened to 4,000. The extra 34 on top is a pretty healthy.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, two queens and a deuce.
That's gonna make it tough.
Talk about out flopping. One queen wouldn't have mattered, of course. Neuter would have still been more hunting.
Yeah, I will say that in my experience, it seems that like small pairs are overvalued way more by the general population in the main event than hands like Ace X or like Queen Jack suited. You'll see those hands get folded to a 3-bet way more often.
Yeah,
than the 5.
because they rank to be far more intrusive. And granted, a small pair can be very easily dominated by a larger pair.
Yeah.
But it's also a function of clarity, I think. Pots that or flops that don't contain a 4, rather, are very easy to get away from.
Right. Yeah. You're 100% right. It's the pre-flop epidemic. I know I'm good on this street a lot of the time.
Right.
So like, let's just figure it out from there.
Which, while the importance of having a plan is certainly out there, plans are subject to change from time to time. As we check in around the room, Barry Greenstein streaming himself right now. He's like, oh, there I am. Poker Go. Got my $10 ponied up, 133 in front of him. And Fossil Man, Greg Raymer. Boy, those glasses look like they've got some miles on the odometer. You think it's the original pair that we first saw him with? There's our man, Nick Schulman. $133 in front of him.
Man, I'm such a fan of Nick.
Me too.
He just like really changed everything in the commentary booth.
Johnny Chan, almost 100,000 in front of him. He's a monster on the felt, by the way, too. Regularly plays that 1,500, 3,000 mixed game over in Bobby's room at the Bellagio and is right at home.
Yeah,
and talks and thinks poker a majority of every day. And if he's not doing that, he's talking or thinking chess.
Really?
So, yeah.
I have literally no experience. Never played with him, never spoken with him.
He and I knew each other before we knew each other. We used to play 100, 200 limit hold'em on Poker Stars like 10 plus years ago.
Okay.
When the games were savage. I mean, just I remember one time I was out in New York, and Nick was in New York at the time as well. We didn't know each other. And while my girlfriend was getting ready for dinner, I just decided to hop in the game. Instantly got buried like 6,000 or 7,000.
Sure.
Dinner plans got canceled.
Yeah,
Eventually, I think I got out at about 3 a.m. But the damage had been done. And the takeover, which was Shulman's online name, was responsible for a lot of that frustration that evening.
I totally understand. He is world-class player, world-class announcer.
As Jonathan's put some of those newfound chips to work on the button, and again finds himself up against a small pair potentially. Jabo with 2 6s, flats, and he's got 204,000, so he can afford to take a peek out of position. Over to Hashem with the suited Queen 7 and a decent price.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's putting this much thought to it.
6-1.
I mean, he's definitely calling. I think he's only considering a 3-bet in this spot, perhaps. I think a 3 would be a little loose, though. He's gonna go for it. I like him. The man has heart.
Indeed he does. The issue for me in these situations, as much as Joe understands the button is attacking, the small knows the button is attacking, they in turn know that he knows, and so he could be just playing back because of the context and scenario, which opens the door to some of these sexy 4-bets at times.
For sure.
Like.
I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of the logical loop, but my problem with it is
Leave the rabbit holes to me, by the way. I will take it directly down into them throughout the day.
I'm all for jumping in head first usually, but that one I don't think ends. The issue I have there is, and maybe it's why Joe chose to do it, but Karaka stacked at 27 blinds. It's just like he has a clear 4-better fold. And maybe that's what Joe's looking for by squeezing through with that spot. But his hand plays just so much better as like a call.
Swinging out to the second outer table. It's an all-in and a call situation. 2 jacks against, drum roll, 2 jacks.
Oh, possible free roll scenario.
Yeah, that's what the smile would revolve around there, as they understand it's not an auto chop at this point. Hallert's got the free roll.
I never want to pain anybody with that. Just put a red card up there.
Yeah, you don't. Of course. Of course.
Always a sweat.
Young Ryu.
Oh, this poor kid. Don't do it to him. This isn't what you want
It's
to be
the
remembered.
gross. Oh, come on.
Man.
Is that the end of the road for
That's
Young
it.
Ryu?
He's going to take a minute to get up for
Jacks against Jackson. Got his exit papers. Marching orders.
It's so unfair, and everybody else is just like so callous to the moment. They're just like, oh, you only had 10 blinds, whatever, I'll see you later, buddy. But it's like, this poor kid scratched and clawed as best he could until he finally got the jacks, ran him into the jacks, and saw
Not
0
fair.
return.
Not fair one bit. Reminds me of that famous aces versus aces hand in the one drop.
Yeah,
Just $1 million buy-in aces
Yeah,
versus
that's-
aces.
that has to be the biggest free roll scenario in the history of poker.
Yeah, the actual fiscal implications of
Yeah.
that are unlikely to be matched. Although who knows? Maybe there's some nosebleed
Yeah,
game
it's-
at some sultan's house in Dubai we don't know
That's
about.
true.
Where that's just like, oh, that is a regular putt. What is the big deal? 7 million. That's all they played for.
But in that game, they're probably both rich. Where in this scenario, like, you know,
Right, but
relatively speaking, Connor's on the worst side of that battle against Kerry.
fair assessment.
There's been a lot of like, and maybe it's just because the coverage is getting a lot more in depth, but I feel like there have been a lot of just like absurd anomalies this event. I know Matt Savage busted with 10s full versus quad 6s, and then Vanessa busted
Yeah,
on stream aces full versus quad 7s.
And by the way, felt like she really did want to get away from it because that A7 of hearts possibility was out there.
Her explanation was fantastic.
Really?
It was completely spot on. It's like, yes, this is a fold if you have no combinations of worse hands. She had one combination, and that just makes it a call. But it's like, and that's the main event effect, right? Like, you never even consider in another scenario. There was another hand too where I believe Eric Baldwin
And I
had
tell you,
quad deuces.
deuces against a
A
straight
royal
flush.
flush.
Royal flush.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I think he could fold. He actually had, like, the third nuts with quads. Jack Nine of Hearts beat
Seldom
him.
is that the situation.
Right, yeah. Jack Nine of Hearts, I mean, you know, only one hand beats him, but there's two combinations of that hand.
Right. And we find Timothy Neuter with Queen 9 suited, opening to 4,500.
So this is a
Middle
very,
position wins.
very interesting spot because
Ace 10 3 betting to 11.5.
the three bet makes total sense. It just becomes incredibly awkward with his stack. So he has about 25 big blinds to start the hand, and I just don't know what his plan is here, other than to make the three bet work.
But you know, sometimes you can exploit the appearance of a vulnerable stack like that
Sure.
to range up
Sure.
in your opponent's
So
mind.
have ace deuce off.
Sure.
Right? And that's not saying that this is improper with ace 10. It's just, I want to know how you're reacting. Like, are you just assuming that you're getting completely honest information from your opponent and that he's only 4-betting a hand that has ace 10 dominated?
I think the stickiness of the man you're up against as well.
Yeah.
You know, you may not want to do that to Dario.
Right, and that actually may be true. Right. Yeah, you shouldn't be 4-betting or 3-betting Chino Reeve there with ace 10 off.
No doubt
He's
about
going
that.
to at least call.
And is that a John Esposito sighting? It is indeed. And, oh, there you go. The Wiz. Get down. All right.
Yeah, we need more of that guy.
Right? I mean, what? Look at the dude next to him. Was like, do we need a medic?
I actually know the dude next to
Look at Schulman. I wonder how Schulman's dealing with it. He's right next to him.
Oh, man.
At least he's out there having a good time. I wish more people looked like they were having fun.
Yeah,
out
I
there.
saw 2 guys out by the registration line just waiting for the doors to open this morning at 10:30. Like, they're here a half hour early, can't take it, the excitement's too real, and they just have, like, a beat playing, and they're rapping over it.
No.
I wanted to film it so bad, but
What's wrong with you? Film that.
they were just having such a good time. I didn't want to be intrusive. I didn't want to be that guy, you know, who's just like, oh, this is too good to pass on.
All future that guy situations, call on me, my friend.
You got
I have no reservations about filming something. I might even get in there and drop a verse.
Now that I would have
Then
turned the
you would've
camera on for sure.
I didn't say it'd be a good verse.
All the
Or
better.
one that I'd want immortalized, for that matter. Jabba with a6 offsuit opens to 4,500.
The good ones rarely go viral.
Really?
It's,
the bad ones
it's
go
the
viral?
embarrassing ones that get all the hits.
The William Hungs of the world?
Oh man, what a gem he was.
I actually went to college with him. Could you believe that?
No,
I went to Cal.
did not.
He came back off that American Idol appearance, and there was like groupies.
Yeah.
I remember just seeing him walk campus with groupies, and I'm like, is this really happening?
Yeah,
So
that's
all
wild.
I got to do is embarrass myself on national television? Done! On a regular basis.
And now you're here.
There I am. Asham flatting with the 2-4s. Jabo has him covered, so an interesting stack against which to do this, but certainly the implied odds are there. The set line, you can get full value potentially.
Yeah, this is all really standard.
Jack 9 deuce rainbow.
I think we see more of this like ace X offsuit middle position steal attempt in the main more so than anywhere else. Or maybe this is just like something you just don't see in high rollers anymore, right? Because people are just like defending with such vigor that you just can't take these trashy hands and say like, oh well, it's ace high. It votes to be the best hand. I'm just gonna go ahead and take these blinds. It's tough when you have a small and big blind that just like aren't folding.
And Jabo isn't going to follow up with a C bet.
This is what kind of makes these hands problematic.
The A6 is a low.
Yeah, is that even when they are the best hands pre-flop, which in this scenario it wasn't, but Hashem could very easily have like ace-4 suited here as well and just kind of win the pot. You're just often going to be out of position with them, and the clarity moving forward on a reasonable portion of the board textures is very low. Anytime that we come across these boards where you have too high connectors or pocket fades.
Oh, we check in on a Joseph Hashem tweet. I think the best thing that's happened at WSOP in forever is the collaboration of PokerGo and ESPN, taking poker to the next level. I wonder how much that tweet cost us.
Shameless plug.
Probably kidding, of course.
Yeah, it probably only cost getting them on the feature tables.
Oh, are you suggesting that we have manipulated things here?
I would never ever
Berkey, not ingratiating yourself in the booth here today. Of course, these draws are completely random. We scan the lineups before play and determine which we'd like to bring you as featured tables.
I think you guys have actually done a pretty good job choosing the tables.
It's not easy.
No.
Because there are a lot of big names
Yeah.
strewn about the field. You want to balance, you want to show
Well, the
different
Mercier
faces.
Negranu auto was like,
Auto.
yeah. I mean, that was really, it was kind of fun to watch. Honestly, I actually kind of felt bad for Daniel in particular because it's day one of the main. You so desperately want to do well, and his persona is such that when the cameras are on, he's on. And sometimes you just get those tables where you don't want to deal with that. Even when you're a talkative player, you kind of just want to be able to rein it in a little bit and maybe go a level or two without engaging anybody. But he really didn't get that chance to have that mental break.
And we'll swing out to our secondary table. Out of table number one. I've called it a myriad of different things at this point. Dollar Shave Club breakdown of the stacks there. Chino at 400,000, slipping back a touch. Benoit Jean, the short stack out there, as they're 8-handed. Lucier with an impressive semi-bluff on the turn. Picking up the heart draw and the gut shot straight draw, getting through the 2 nines.
Brutal spot for nines.
Yeah.
That's probably like the biggest thing that Hole Cards has revealed is just how insanely torturous this game can be. You know, it's like, it's easy to sleep at night when you don't know that you were bluffed over and over and over again. Right. Or, you know, if you're like myself or Chino, where you just clicking the call and make sure that you rest easy.
Right. Resting easy can be more expensive than it's worth at times.
It's absolutely costly.
Raise 45.
Another raise to 4,500, the standard number around the room pre-flop. With the 1K, 2K blinds, this time from Christian Rotundo from Argentina. He's got the pocket threes. Chino with ace-10 suited. Pumps it up to 11-5. This is where threes start to shrivel.
Yeah, this is like a big thing that's very difficult in navigating these fields. Just knowing what to do with these small pairs, and we've kind of emphasized it already a little bit where we're seeing people play passively. But you know, Rotundo comes into this hand, he has a little over 25 big blinds. You just don't have room to like be splashing around with these types of hands.
And he's calling 7,000 on a. It's almost 10% of the stack invested already. King, Queen, 9, all diamonds on the board. Not a great looking board for Chino, but if Rotundo's checking to him,
yeah, this is
he just auto fires the 10,000. Savage.
I mean, this is just him leaning on the stack size, and you know he does have some sort of equity if Rotundo chooses to call. But yeah, this is like the tough part. Not only is it very difficult to raise call with threes here, and very likely going to be a negative EV play, but particularly against somebody like Chino, who just doesn't have anything ever, your value in flopping a set goes way down. Now you're out of position, and you have to hope that he just blasts off for stacks or has something strong enough to put in all the chips, because you don't have the initiative. You're not going to actually get the foot chip. You're not voluntarily going to get the foot chips in.
Ben Lamb, 368,000 in front of him. Scotty Wynn, another former main event champ, 266,300. And there's Joe Cata, 96,000 in front of him. Pretty sure I was at Caesars one night. Caught up in some pie gals. We look at Jason Mercier, who's got 105,000. Pie gal, incredibly popular if you're going to be a pit monkey with poker players, because it is poker based.
Yeah.
And Joe Cata was there, sitting next to me, and he was going martingale on the pie gal table. 1,000 out there. If I lose, 2,000. If I lose, 4,000. If I lose, 8,000. And we got it up to 16,000 at one point.
What was the table limit?
You know, it's funny. For whatever reason, there was not a max on the. I don't think it's because Joe was there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he had identified that and was exploiting it. But by the end of the session, I was probably down a few thousand, and Joe had collected a cool 70,000 and change, I believe it was, employing that. In spite of the juice, by the way, dropped it into big manila folder and went on his way. And I was like, must be nice to be rolled the martingale pie gal.
Yeah, that's
like
strong.
That.
This is going to be a lot of fireworks.
Jean.
And this is what.
Yeah.
This is what he's
out of the way,
going to be
but-
dismissed from this hand.
Of course.
But this is just like one of those spots where
And it's Chino, by the way,
that,
which is
that-
relevant.
that was what I was trying to get at.
He three clicks to 15,000 with the big slick, and
Hallert may not 4-bet many other people, but he's going to elect to 4-bet Chino. Now the thing is,
42,000 is the number.
Chino just like doesn't fold to 4-bets in general when deep, and they're deep. So
Yeah, they're 1 and 2 in chips here.
yeah, so this is going to be a wild spot because Chino very well could just call with Ace King to protect his flat call range in general because he is calling with so many hands here, and just kind of put Hallert in a bit of a cage spot where he's now going to be out of position, working post flop in a relatively deep stack scenario. They're still going to have about 5x, or no, I guess not. They're going to have about 3 times the pot size moving forward. That being said, Chino doesn't get big hands all that often. So he very
doesn't
well
need big hands, to be fair, Matt.
well, no, but that's what I'm getting at. He doesn't have the opportunity to 5-bet this spot very, very often. So he may kind of fall victim to that idea of like, well, I never have a hand, and they think that I'm light when I do these types of actions.
And he's got the aces and kings blocked to an extent with the ace king. So, the very top end of Hallert's range, assuming the blockers are actually blocking, is exactly where he's at with the 2 queens, which you don't necessarily want to race against in this spot.
Right. So I assume like his general thought process here is twofold. It's one, how often am I being 4-bet bluffed here by Hallett? And 2, if the answer is a lot, do I want to just keep those bluffs in through a call? If the answer is nearly never, then of course I want to call because I don't want to take on the variance of running into kings or aces here some of the time.
And he does call, and if you're Kenny Hallert, you've got to be wondering, is this a Chino Ream in position going to try to get me off a hand, thinks I'm light 3-betting, or 4-betting rather, or are there red flags?
So this is why I think Chino's call is really good with just about everything. I think he should call with aces, kings, ace, king, everything, because he's so call happy here that he's just going to
Oh,
force a lot
shit.
of
Now I have to go
now,
all
this
in.
board texture is pretty dry, and Hallert's very likely to just c-bet and win unless Chino gets sticky. But, on different types of textures, say a 9-8-7 board, Chino may just default to win here because he has the 9s and 8s. He has the jack 10s. He just has these hands that 3-bet and then call. And basically what I'm getting at is he'll have board coverage moving forward post-flop in a lot of scenarios. Now Hallett chooses the down bet here, as we spoke about earlier. He elects to punish himself by only betting 30,000, giving Chino a very cheap price to peel. And
he does connect with the king, by the way.
And there's no one on earth I would hate down betting against more than a guy like Chino, because he's just not folding, right? You're better off trying to just check shove, I think.
Oh, how gross is this spot for Kenny Hallett now?
Fold.
After the bet of 30,000 and the call,
Yes.
which could be a float from a guy like Chino, because he's willing to get it in there. He does not have that fear that you and I discussed earlier at all, regardless of the situation, even if it is the main.
Right, completely agree. You garner zero information with the 30,000 chip bet there because Chino's basically calling. He could have 10-8 high here, for all we know. He's just going to peel pretty much everything. And
by the way, get paid off by people who otherwise wouldn't get paid.
That's the biggest aspect that I don't think people take into consideration. It's like, well, I'm just printing money with that bet if he's calling lively.
Now, this is actually not a bad situation.
That's a save
for Kenny.
That's for sure a save. It's going to it's going to allow him to fold to the shove.
But listen, Chino doesn't have to shove.
Right. I mean,
he could fire another 50.
Yeah, he has less than pot, and I think he is astute enough. I was just about to say, I think he's astute enough to understand that he has the board crippled here. But he has to choose a sizing that would still be in line with some of his air.
Notice how quickly he plays, by the way. None of that tanking, and I think that lends subconsciously to that sense that,
Baby.
I know you're bullying me, right?
Right, because if he has 6-7, if he has 6-7, what decisions does he have to make? Right, just bet 100,000.
Right,
immediately.
Auto.
Yeah, and now Kenny finds himself with like pretty much the top of his range that's kind of crushed by, some of Chino's nutted hands and, find some bluffs here as well.
This is a massive pot, man. 351,000.
And
3.5 to 1 he's getting.
So this is kind of the issue, right? When Hallett 4-bet pre, let's start asking ourselves some questions. Was he willing to play an all-in pot? I don't know. I would estimate the answer against Chino is probably yes.
Right. Against Chino is relevant.
Right. So now when you get the 9-5-4 board, is he still willing to play an all-in pot? I think the answer becomes no when you start down betting, right? Because you're trying to it's almost like you're trying to do something that's never going to happen unless you're beat. So like on a 9-5-4 board, is he trying to induce a raise out of Chino? Probably, but what's Chino actually going to raise that board with? Chino's sticky. He's not going to raise with 6-7. He doesn't represent anything, right? He's going to raise with 9s. He's going to raise with aces. He's going to raise with kings. So it's like you're going to get a response that you're not really looking for whenever you make this down bet. So why not choose a normal size? Why not bet 100,000 and now apply pressure to the hands that have equity?
I never lie about my hands. I promise you. I promise you. I have you beat. I promise.
Chino gives him a look.
Yeah, queens, I got lucky, but
I hate that show by
I
Chino.
never have to lie about my hands.
Me too.
Hate it. I hate it so much.
Torture your man for at least the 30 minutes that it's going to take for him to find out.
And if anybody is torturing people, it's Chino. It's like the guy who's capable of having ace deuce high there should still having ace deuce high there, you know?
Yeah, queen on TV. No, in my phone. Open the I know that.
You know, I can't agree with you more, Matt, that, like, if you're Chino, it's such a feather in your cap. All of the reputation you've garnered throughout the years. You know, a la Queen Win, by the way, last year, coming into this year's event. Showing him the ace-king just is relief.
The last thing you want is to try to present some level of credibility.
Welcome.
Because it doesn't change anything, right? Chino doesn't suddenly get credit now moving forward when he runs a 3-barrel bluff. It's the same scenario moving forward, you know? Nobody believes you. Nobody's going to start believing you because you had the nuts one time.
Right.
So please just, keep torturing these guys.
It really does create such an amazing dynamic and a fun one to watch when you get a villain like Chino in the mix against these, GTO, very analytical players. And Chino, I think, retains, something that throws those guys for a loop.
Yeah, and, for better or for worse, it's a good fold for Howard. He's still in this thing with a good chip stack.
Yeah, he dusted off, I think, 120 and change total.
Yeah.
Pre-flop, flop, and turn.
But he's still in the plus 50 blind category, where if he calls there, he's now down to 30 blinds, and he can't do anything against Chino.
No, and still third in chips, which is also relevant. So he has some latitude to push people around. As we see the 10-deuce tray rainbow board between 3 players. Crostolni's 2 9s, the best hand. Duarte continuation betting 5,200 and getting called down to heads up now.
Yeah, I think the big thing I would have liked to have taken away from that hand is I would have preferred Hallett to take an approach where he tried to play for stacks on the flop, and just deal with the fact that sometimes you run into pocket 9s, sometimes he has aces or kings, or don't do any of that stuff, right? Don't be willing to play for stacks with just queens when you have piles. Take a more protected approach. But this hedge seems to be where a lot of the trouble stems from. And granted, he made it a very disciplined fold on the river. But if Chino had 7 high there, we'd be singing a different story.
A peek at our second outer table, where it's Timoshenko against Augustino. Augustino is at risk with 2 10s up against ace queen. So far, so good. King, king, 8 on the board. And the turn is a 4. Nicholas Agostino just needs to fade an ace or a queen on the river. Oh!
Heartbreak.
There's some nasty runouts happening on our second outer table here. Timoshenko sending Nicholas Agostino home.
It's the false sense of hope that really makes the river so much more brutal than just seeing the door card being a queen.
I couldn't agree with you more.
You just feel like you made it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
so close.
you're just about to scale the summit and suddenly the earth crumbles
Yep.
beneath your feet and you die impaled on a stalactite. Was that a bit morbid?
No, that was great imagery. Oh, man.
Is tight or Mike the one that comes up from the bottom? I don't know, but I feel like I'm close enough to get a pass, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I woke up this morning and just decided I'm going to use the word stalactite.
I like it. And I'm not even going to begin to attempt to correct you. This got to make him feel a little bit better.
Ream with top pair, top kicker, up against the nuts for Howard.
Now, these are the kind of pots that Chino navigates really well. This is going to make it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, he picks up the nut flush draw on the turn. Pre-flop, it was Ream who raised to 4,500. Howard, I believe, flatted.
Now, I'll be curious to see if unimproved Chino is able to fold the river.
King on the river, an overcard to the 10 now. Another check from Ream after calling the 17,500, and it's Rebatesville for Howard here. How much is he going to look to milk?
Yeah, so this is where the lore of Chino makes it tough. Howard's obviously betting, right? There's no question about that. It's just what sizing is he going to choose? And then with Chino having nut blocker, does he ever just go for it?
Oh, the dry ace play?
Yeah, just the, I don't think he can call me without it. I'm all in.
I mean, if there's a guy who's got that gear in his transmission, it's Chino. It's more of a PLO play, I feel like.
It is, but, he blocks a lot of what Howard could be value betting.
I mean, Howard could easily have King Queen with the King of Spades.
Yeah, right. But these types of hands have to fold the shoves, right?
Correct.
So, like, outside of Queen Jack and flushes,
And which, by the way, even flushes don't have to call.
right. Chino already gave away though. He's only considering calling.
Yeah, the hero play is out.
Yeah, he's just trying to probe for information. I think he's gonna fold. I think Chino should understand the disciplined fold that Howard made before makes it a lot less likely that he's just firing air here.
I have the ace of spades.
That makes it tough to bluff. I did mention Queen Jack.
Yeah, I think he's gonna.
Or a set or something stupid. I believe were the other two options.
Something stupid, I guess, would be like 6-7.
I don't want to give it to him. I don't want to give it to you, Kenny. I'm not gonna lie.
I love this.
You just might do it.
This is
Alright, what'd you grab?
this is how this man made all his money. I can promise you that much.
17.5, what is that? 20, 26.5. 26.5 plus the minus game time. Oh my god, he wants me to call so bad. Kenny, what kind of shit is that, man? You're not supposed to tell him what your spot is. You're supposed to like,
That's all right. I'm trying to figure it out.
yeah, I got a decent hand. I just like check buzzer, let you fire away. Are you okay? Which is in the pot? Pretty good. I don't know. We're having fun at least, Kenny. But not enough fun paying you off. You deserve it.
Fold. Man, just fold.
Sorry, guys.
Shit. Yes. Hold. No hold. Yes. Yes.
Chino makes the call.
Told you they like to
What I
sleep well
did
at
check,
night.
I'll do it. I guess I could have got off it already. That's it. Ace king money back. Ace king money right back. Right back. Ace king money back.
Well, it's more of those.
But who's counting? Good hand. This guy in the hand told you I'm looking at the top. What's that?
That was interesting when Kenny asked for a count. Rather than let the dealer handle it, Alec was right in there with the snap response. 58
I
cents.
like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
As we head over to the second outer table. King Jack against Ace Queen. And it was Timoshenko with the Ace Queen, I believe, who a short time ago caught a queen on the end to eliminate a man and now has been eliminated himself. And I'm not sure who's going to be the beneficiary of that.
I think it was Alan
Huh.
Cunningham.
It would appear that way. He was the first man he went over to his hands with. It'd
Yes.
be awkward to just go right to Alan.
I mean, he is also the most well known at the
Sure,
time.
but
Yes!
you know, yeah, it is Alan. If you see
Oh
him
my
back in the
God.
King Jack.
Hey.
Over 600,000. And we talked about it earlier. At this table, I'm like, thanks. Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate that, Yevgeny.
Top 7
Nice
make
little party gift for me,
1,000.
sure.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, buddy. You just made my life that much more difficult.
He's not that loose of a player, though, right? I've never really
Who,
played down.
Timoshenko or
No,
Oh,
Cunningham.
no, certainly not.
Usually, you don't mind whatever the tighter guy has piles. It sucks because you know.
You think? I just feel like I'm not gonna get. I'm gonna
Yes.
dumpster just to for the chips.
Totally frustrating when they're under a glass case, but
I feel like Pacino's got a lot of chips, as like uncomfortable as it makes some people. Like,
well, that's the
I
thing.
get excited because I got a shot at that stack.
Yeah,
Fuck
sure.
yeah.
But, like that's the thing. You're the main event, right? Like you don't want all the chips. You want comfort.
You want comfort. I want the chips. Ship the sherbet.
Wow.
But I do hear what you're saying. A lot of people, discomfort is something they can manage more easily without the.
Yeah. Most people would much
Okay,
rather play
baby.
poker
11 people
and
left.
just to make
Don't
a single
fuck this
spot
up, man.
than they would challenge a guy who's capable of having anything at any time.
Okay, 11 people left. Top 7 get 1,000. I'm 7.
Back at the outer table. Keeping it here. Chino giving us some excitement. Not playing this particular pot.
Suited too. Crazy.
Fold.
He's
changed.
respecting.
Okay.
And Boussier. Big slick. Makes it 4,500 to go.
Alright, now 11 people left. I'm in the middle.
Howard did get a rebate, but I don't think he got all of the aces.
6th place.
No, certainly not. But you got a fair portion back though.
I didn't know you needed a membership.
That's probably worth noting.
Okay, now. Final stretch. Don't fuck this
The
up,
context,
Ryo.
you mean, of the fact that they were one hand removed from
Well, no,
the
just
showdown before? And how
well, I think that kind of may have played a part in Chino calling, but his hand just doesn't serve very well in the bluff catcher by the time you land on that river, and that should encourage him to fold. But also the aspect that, like I said, Howard made a very disciplined fold on a poor runout in a scenario where he could have been getting bluffed.
Okay, 10 deuce is a fold to any bet.
He's just spiteful and is trying to run some sort of weird
some tilt three
ace
barrel.
queen 3-barrel.
Right. Boussier takes the count.
Come on, fold. Just fold. Give me my blind. You don't have to fight for every fucking thing. Oh my god.
Let's talk a little bit about Jonathan Boussier, over 578,000 for the tournament years. From Montreal, Canada, 6 years of age. Just 10K of that coming from the series. Public cash in both in 2014 and 1K events.
Fold. Yes! Damn, baby.
Playground Poker Spring Classic.
Alright. King, are you kidding me?
Yeah, was that the recent
Now we're talking.
was guaranteed a million, I think? Yeah,
Were you up there?
no, I had to miss it. We were running an academy simultaneously. I explained it a little. But I think it was a $5 million guarantee with first guaranteed $1 million.
Solid.
Shit!
We're doing good things.
Fuck.
Well, this is definitely one of the most lucrative series or lucrative World Series that I've been part of in probably the last 5 or 6 years since Black Friday.
So you think there's been some measure of resurgence? What do you attribute it to?
Has to be crypto, right?
Oh, you think Bitcoin's got everybody pumped up?
Everybody's crypto here. No, honestly, I don't know. But tournament poker is absolutely alive and well. And even cash, I'm seeing like a little bit of a resurgence. It's tough. You know, we still just clamor to the glory days of
Shit.
having on
Should have limped.
All clubs in a three-way pot. Rotundo with the 7 high flush. But
oh no.
Benoit Jean with the king high flush.
Those stacks aren't going to allow for anything other than
Yeah, this is second shortest and shortest stack. Smashing this one. Rotundo's like, finally a suited connector.
Yeah.
Who hits?
Yeah, this is what he's looking for with those threes. I mean, he's kind of encouraged to slow play here, given his stack size. So the only thing that could possibly save Rotundo here is another club.
And even then, John with the king and
Oh, come on.
5, 8, or 3 of clubs, giving a little light.
Stan Hughes now officially from dead. Anything other than a bluff, which seems so incredibly.
This is going to be it. I would suspect he's going to bet around $10. And get check shelf though.
Man.
I think he's just only debating
Just
whether to bet smaller or smaller.
let me have it.
He's going to go with the standard size bet.
Benoit Jean. Do you make him put the rest of it in here? Or keep
I think you have to, right? Like, you're just against King Queen with the club. Or I guess that's not feasible,
But is the sizing clearly pot Camille from Rotundo on the screen? Sure.
Probably not, but like, what is he bet folding? Because like, I don't think if he has the naked ace of clubs, he's just gonna shovel in on a two club.
Fold.
So you don't gain any value there by not forcing him to pay for it now. And everything else should just be a big hand with that. Should be sets, should be flushes. Straight.
And sure enough, Jean puts them all in, and Rotundo is thinking, okay. Set would have served him better as the board pairs on the run out. So that is it for the Argentinian.
Fold.
Christian Rotundo.
Yes, baby.
One thing today that is particularly brutal.
Yeah.
It's the worst day of the year. But
Businessman by trade from Argentina with 157,000 earnings. So he spent some time playing cards.
busting in those types of manners, you know, being 3-rolled pair versus pair, or flush over flush, set over set. Those are really difficult.
Why is this guy on my table now?
Looks like a second outer table, pocket sevens and pocket kings are butting heads. And Troy Casson is all in and at risk.
He's got the 2 seconds, so he needs help. He turned out double double. 7 to 3, 7 or 10. Instead, it's running jacks, and that is the end of the road for Troy Tassin.
Fold.
Boy, they're dropping like flies around the room at this point.
Fold. Yes, baby, yes. Chipping up.
Twitter feed, they think that the increased numbers are attributed to the streams. And
Man, the 5 big stacks on this table and the 5 short stacks on the other one.
because you don't have to find a table now for get some publicity. Oh, so you think that PR overlay might be luring some folks in as we spin around and give a little bit of publicity to some notables? Look for Reed, 60,000. Got herself a bracelet this summer.
Don't free bet me.
68,000. There's the move. It's Stacey Madison. Do you think she was one of the ones applauding when Kasuf got busted? Yeah, interesting. Will Kasuf, the villain from last year, as we check back at our outer table where Chino Reed found himself in a bit of a spot here. Pistoli has shifted with ace king. He opened in the small blind to 5,000. He got it to 15. And now Pistoli over the top. Got called and out. Flops Chino's jacks. It's a healthy little pot here at about 33. Yeah, this is these are frustrating. Yeah. Without a spade, Pistoli now drawing dead 2 outer on the turn. What is going on? I think it all back. This is no longer frustrating for Chino. What I'm gonna say is these hands are frustrating when they're just standard, and you're the kind of guy who plays all the pots. Because you really need to win these ones. Sure. To pay for all those other pots you're gonna play. Yeah. When you make real hands, you need them to hold up. This gets dangerous.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
No doubt about it. So, Jeffrey Pistoli will head back to Evanston, Maryland. Ops manager, now retired. Up 77 career earnings. So Jennifer will be a nice comforting sight for him, no doubt.
Alter, 3rd place, that's fucking awesome.
He's got $2.5 million of 8.7 in career earnings here at the World Series, 29 passions. You got a date November 9th.
Fold, so I can bet. Fold.
Believe it or not, Chino used to be a waiter back in the day. I don't. He would have been the funnest waiter ever. Yeah. He's like, you don't want the wings. Go with the nachos. What are you doing? Look at these things. Put you on the menu. What are you telling me? Look, he's a Boston fireman. I'll tell you this is the best thing on there. If you can get a side of wings on top of the nachos,
Shit.
I'll do it for you. So, yeah. We'll get it to him. Yeah, he strikes me as the kind of guy who would pick off the plate of the people he serves. Come on.
Yes! Oh my god! Nice! 2nd place.
Feels like about time for us to check in with Joe Stapleton, who's standing by with a very special effort.
Of the 7,000 plus runners in this year's main event, only 272 of them were women. Of was shooting 72. Much like my Tinder matches, only one was under the age of 26. Also, like my Tinder matches, 33 of them were over the age of 56, but that's another story for another day. Today, we're focusing on
This guy.
Vivian Saliba from Brazil. Now, Vivian started today with 86 big blinds. She's already had the 11th place finish in this year's World Series of Poker, but she's got her eyes on the 8.1 million first place prize here in the main, and it figures. Have you seen how much a 24-year-old has to pay to rent a car? It's insane.
So Vivian, 24 years of age. Get the Cinch Joe swipe right on that profile if you came across it, huh?
I'm speechless.
You know what the swipe app, huh, Vicky?
You know what's right? Yeah. I was in Las Vegas for the second.
Is that how you use it? The swipe app?
Honestly, no.
This is the sort of strategy, this is the kind of academy people want you to do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like 5-6 years ago, I was really into the
Ooh.
online thing. Met a girl, dated her for a while.
Damn.
I honestly don't know. I've matched with tons of girls. I don't know if I've actually gone on a date with one since.
Really?
I've been on the real life grind.
So it's just kind of entertainment value for you at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of turned into a video game. Well,
Ego stroke.
no. Honestly, the apps have just like deteriorated so much. You know, you're just mostly matching with spam and things like that.
Good looking spin.
Yeah. It's not as good looking as Three's Fool versus Queen.
Yeah, look at this situation that Bushkoff finds himself in. Two queens, the ace, potentially
Really?
save him some damage.
Just about to say really unfortunate. He's very likely going to get on the street.
Did he check?
He certainly could.
I'm checking.
I think he's unlikely to because this card should actually really hit Kristoff. And moreover, if he checks back, he's wrecking the flush draw. So now all spades are going to fill his asses too. I think he'll get
Fold.
Yes.
Oh yeah, baby.
I can hope to induce in the event the spade doesn't roll out. But that's why it makes sense.
That's fair. What are you inducing against though? Like, you're not going to stack queens from the piece of hearts.
You're not going to stack, but that's just that one bullet on the river that you might not have otherwise gotten by firing that turn.
I think you're just like always getting it. I don't think he really has any check fold off time.
But what do I know? 49,000 Hitchcock calls,
Yeah.
even though the ace rolls off. 7.
And how the constructor was caught perfectly, he set up now for shove.
Well, he made it 4,200 free. Hitchcock flatted from the small blind. Lucier came along from the big on the board. Hitchcock basically checked him out. He fired the 5,500. That check raised to 15,500. Then he flatted, and the ace rolled off. So now the check call is 29,000. Now, with 100 in the middle, what is the number?
I think he's going to go all in. I think he thinks that Kristoff has a lot of nut flush draws and 6 X's. They're the most logical hands for the check raise the flop. He can't possibly know those queens. Correct. He did go all in, right?
Yeah, 108,200.
Yeah, covered by a couple of 8 chips. So I think this is the proper play. He's targeting the hands that he call most likely. He obviously can't know that he ever has queens. And that's one of the few hands that can possibly call like say a 30K bust instead.
You know, I do think also contextually that some of these older players, when faced against these younger, aggressive players, think that they're being bullied and blocked off the shots. And so, when that big bet comes in, maybe they could get that
Yeah.
than otherwise.
Well, I don't think it's about the likelihood. I think the hands that we're talking about that Alex targeted have to call. If he has a 6, if he has a reasonable nut flush draw,
So,
he's very likely to just call it off. But moreover, Alex can't block a player profile like Kristoff.
what is going on? Nobody's fucking busting on that table.
So, even if, say, he folds ace deuce of spades, that's okay.
And let's get a look at the updated chip counts after
The dust settles. Constantine with 108,200. Meanwhile, Howard 339. Chino though boss among the 7 players here. Let's talk about Constantine. Interesting guy. 2.6 million.
Okay.
65 years old.
He has to call you in.
He is a horse trainer and horse breeder. Now, one bracelet in 2010 for the $1,500 horse. So a bit of a mixed game player. 50 caches.
Okay, yoo-hoo!
He went 21 events without cashing.
Oh, nice. So,
Broke the seal finally, and it's been pretty good since then. Set the record for most money finishes in the World Series of Poker. 11 at one point, but that has been smashed.
good. So I'm third place.
15% payout is just an altered out fun.
Sure.
Fold.
Tussling again.
Yes.
Check on the flop between 10-6.
Okay, nice. 35,000. That is place 3. Okay, nice. Tops. Okay, 2 more busts.
And the bluff along. No betting.
Could you imagine?
Suck out alert. Now, this happened on one other occasion. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the spiral alarm dilemma being so prevalent in
Wow, nice. Now,
What sets it off?
let's fucking get this on. Let's fucking get the $1,000.
I mean, it has to be something foolish, right? Like,
It's just mischievous. Somebody's out there.
is that even possible? Like, I don't really walk through the hall and see any fire alarms just hanging out on a.
I sure hope there's some fire alarms out there. What happens if there's actually a fire?
No, I'm certain that there are. I just assume they're for, not the patrons to pull.
You know, that guy with the whiz is probably really jamming right now because it's the full-on club effect, right? We got
Okay, so everybody has some decent stack actually.
We gotta find him.
Ronnie Barda.
Jacks. Okay, 1,000. That means I have 35 big blinds. It's nice. We have nobody really has a 16. Is the smallest.
Beat box on command and then be skillful at what they hold.
You think those two are somewhat mutually exclusive?
In my opinion, I think
Gambler, loose, aggressive, overplay. Yeah, I'm not overplaying. I'm just slow playing.
Inverse correlation. Someone draw up a graph.
maybe that's what it is. There just isn't enough action going on the limit table, so he's able to orchestrate the speed.
Tell you what, that's based on what I've seen throughout.
Nice hand. Not for another gun plus 1.
I honestly
And a full table.
How that game is played.
I used to play exclusively on the Open back in the day. And now, being a mixed league player, a lot of chop games,
Yeah.
draw games, such a different dynamic, such a smaller variance, relatively speaking. I don't know how they do it. Massive one.
Yeah, I can't stay away.
I
It's
just
just,
wanted to mix it.
it's,
He's angry.
it's so
Tight aggressive. Overplay.
It's just like,
Hey, let's not get no limit elitist here. There could be a
oh no. I'm not being elitist. I think there's room for every.
Oh
game.
man.
I definitely think that there are
Holy shit.
some
Queen.
incredible minds in the mix.
Queen beats me, of course. The 7 beats me.
Showman actually being one.
no doubt.
I just can't for the life of me. Like the way that I think doesn't lend itself to that. I like to color outside the lines. It's those very rigid games.
Sure. It's a very mechanical.
Damn.
You know, a guy like Chino, you throw.
I did the full house.
So
In the
Yeah,
end.
I feel like you wouldn't say no to Chino.
Oh man, it's all.
But in no limit, he's very, very dangerous because the mistakes now compound due to the bet side.
Right. Then John firing the ace queen. Getting it done on the turn. UCA called the 5,000 on the flop there with the Broadway try.
Oh man.
Yeah, he has strong hand. He has my favorite hand with King 8.
And of course, potentially the opportunity to take the pot away on the turn if John would have shut down.
Yeah, also, he just has the best hand set all the time.
Correct.
It's really interesting to see as the field kind of dwindles down as we approach, the money and get to day 4, day 5, etc. Just how much more fight there is, in each one of these pots. You know, you don't really see that many raises taken. Where tournament poker for the longest time, the number one strategy was just
So,
identify your steal spots.
somebody should
Where
die
can
now
you
finally.
accumulate blinds and aces from effortlessly. And so much of that's changed. You see so much more of the sticky play now. You see so much more defending and you know, 3 and 4 bet wars. Maybe a little
Nice.
bit
Call, baby. Call.
just because it's the main event and nobody wants to step out of line too far. But
Oh, man.
most part, you see a lot of those.
Such a fucking good move at this point in time.
Hitchcock playing mystery game with us, like 4,500 with
Jack 6, not a great card.
Flatting. Allen now 3-betting on the button. But it's king.
Let's hope for his and Lucier's sake that he doesn't make the other side. I would wager it's the ace of hearts under there.
It's possible to be like the 8 of hearts.
Come on. Fold, man.
For the sake of keeping things interesting.
Because the aces are blocked in a couple spots.
Yeah. No, the ace of hearts.
Fold, baby.
But, you know, makes it less likely.
Nice. Fold, come on.
Duarte now 4-betting like the ace 10 suited.
It was not the other 7. We know that much. This is an interesting play. He's in small blind, yeah.
He is indeed Howard moving all in. And I believe it was a snap fold from Duarte.
Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate scenario.
I appreciate that, by the way.
Nice.
Okay.
Need some more chips.
Yeah, the funny part is there's
Back
not
to
much-
47,000.
Great.
Back to
But, you know, he was
place 2 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Like from Howard's perspective, he thinks that he just, you know.
right. He had the 9-4.
Yeah.
Looking for that.
And that's kind of like what's frustrating from Duarte's spot is, you know, it looks like a really good sweet spot for Howard. He has a really reasonable hand that he's head suited, and he can't get it through.
Fold.
And there is a former main event champion chip count update courtesy of Poker Go. Scotty Wayne up to almost 300,000. Not far behind him is Raymer. Ashton will be out of our feature table at about 36. Joe Paigalcada at 88,000.
Man, what's it like to be on that road? You gotta watch all your troubles away.
Can't even speculate. You think so? There's so many more problems. Biggie famously preached.
I think more money when you're not prepared for it, no problem.
So like the lottery winners, generally speaking, they're not playing the lottery unless there's
Biggie,
possibility
you
that
know, coming from selling crack to having millions of dollars through records, you're not really ready for that, you know?
I think these guys are all ready for this. Some.
Not,
You gotta have at least the 10,000 in disposable income to put into the main.
Right.
Just to pony up.
Well, you don't. Yeah.
Seat 2.
I would wager there.
Interesting point.
I would wager there are a lot of people in this event that didn't actually put the cash on.
Negative net worth, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, have you got broke throughout your career?
Only one point in time, and when I say broke, it was the poker bankroll that I allocated.
Sure, that's responsible.
Playing in a crooked no limit game up in the Bay Area where I ran top full house in the quads. And aces would run into kings about 7 times in the course of 6 hours every night.
Yeah, that'd be real
I didn't
tough.
know any better back then. Now I know. It was too high, but maybe $9,000
Sure.
It was a lot of money back then.
I had gone broke off of 6 figures twice, and
Wow.
I was young. I was 25 and 28.
And you didn't go broke in all like $1 bills, did you? It wasn't one of those situations.
The second time, kind of. So, the second time I...
Strip club, you mean?
Oh, no. Sorry, that's all I had left was like $1. $1.
No.
No. Yeah, I don't gamble. I don't do too many extracurriculars.
We'll get to that story shortly. But first, I'll remind everyone that Poker After Dark is coming back next month. Live cash games exclusively here on PokerGo and PokerGo.com for the first So,
Fold.
if you take a look at it,
Fold.
ace-9 on the players are going to chop it. What took you from six figures to broke on more than one occasion? Lack of bankroll management?
Well, the first time was just 2006-ish, and I was playing a video game as far as I was concerned. I was online and live. I was doing well in both, but that was the first time I really had online success. And I
Oh,
60K
call.
between my Twitter and Party Poker account. And
Dollar Shave Club feature table chip counts. Speaking out. Go on. So
yeah, I had like 60K online, and then maybe like another 30 or so live roll. And I was just crushing, and it was just so easy. Well, online and live both, but everything just seemed so effortless that I just took insane shots.
quick look at tomorrow's schedule for everyone out there. Go back into ESPN's coverage.
I was just learning how to play PLO, and so I was short stacking games. And
Meaning in back?
yeah, and I would start like 1, 2, 2, 4, and be playing like 50, 100, and then be playing like 5 games with 50, 100.
Parlay.
The worse I would get stuck. Like if I was stuck in mid line to 25, 50.
Mark scaled it.
Yeah, but it just, eventually I just had the whole 60K on 5 tables, and I don't even know what to do. So I dusted.
No wonder the games were so good back then. The Berkeys of the world.
Yeah.
So you ripped through that 60.
I lost 60K in one night playing a game I wasn't even good at. And then I immediately took 15 of my remaining 30,000 in live and just sent it to my student loans because I can't. 45. And I wanted to feel like I gained something.
I understand that.
It was the dumbest thing. It was dumber than 60,000 I lost.
Why? Why do you feel that way?
Because my student loans are $150 a month, and my interest is like zero.
Okay, well, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were getting gouged.
No, I mean I paid off a third of the loans, but it's so foolish. It's like I could spend the rest of my life. The payments that I'll be making 25 years from now will be worth like 20% what the actual dollars worth now.
Shit,
You're
man.
just going to carry that student loan around in a small satchel.
Yeah, I could have paid it off numerous times. I happily paid my $199.
Look at that. You could lease like a Corolla for that number. You just paid it off. You could run a nice, well-equipped 2017 Toyota Corolla. No, not into it.
No, because I mean the interest is all paid. I'm paying down the principal now, and
But there's nothing against Corollas, right?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
fully done.
All right, good. Making sure.
And
So anyway, dumbest thing you did. You had 15 left.
it was a terrible idea. So I ended up rebuilding. 2010, I went deep in the main, got 43rd.
Wait a minute, you said busted.
Ah, fuck this.
15,000 is not busted to a lot of
Sorry, look. All right, so let me go on. So that happened in like November of 2006. By January of 2007, I had 8,000 to my name, and there was a winter baseball league in Yuma, Arizona.
This is getting good.
I was desperately still trying to play baseball.
Oh, man.
I lost
Two more places.
the idea that I was ever going to make it to the majors, but I thought I was plenty good enough to play independent ball. The problem was I was getting too old. I was 24. And baseball years,
24 is too old. That's rough.
I mean, you're dead in baseball years.
Yeah, you got that 17-year-old Dominican phenom nipping at your heels.
Yeah, so I signed up for this league in Yuma, Arizona. It cost me like, $3K for housing and travel. So now I'm down to my final 2,000. Go out there for a month and just perform. And I'm the third oldest guy there. The two other guys, there's one guy who's my age. It was Sergio Romo. He was the closer for the Giants.
Yeah.
I rooted with him a little bit, and then there was another guy who was like 29 at the time. His name was Scott Richardson, and he was a Canadian who pitched for Oklahoma, but then lost his visa during 9/11. So he kind of got banished. He was drafted in like the top 5 rounds.
Shit, man. Queen 10. Definitely defendable.
After this league, he got drafted by the Blue Jays and was the number 2 for 2 years before having to retire.
How amazing is that?
So I was brushing elbows with good talent. I ended up not getting signed out of there. But what good did come of it? There was a casino. Cuba, Arizona, and California.
Nice.
Their very first no-limit hold'em tournament ever. They guaranteed $20,000 to first place on my birthday, which was the only weekend we had off the entire winter league. So it was a $500 buy-in with a $500 add-on. I took 1,000 of my remaining 2,000, put it into that event, and was chip leader beginning to end. Shipped the whole thing for $20K.
Wow, what an amazing story that is. And then look back, we have another hiccup later on in life. So we'll get to that one as we pick up the action here with Hashem having flatted the open. Teriyaki with 2 queens. That pesky ace, but not going to just check. Fires a 7,000 chip continuation bet. Check. What gets to both opponents, and that's when you play a little sweat off the 3 crowd. Kyriakides, I was going to say, 16,000 career tournament earnings from Picture China up a little bit more age. And gear sales and distribution. So, you know, he's going to get the party started if he cashes big. Right. So now, Berkey, the question remains, what happened after you shipped that tournament and built it back up to over 6 figures once more? Was it another winter league situation? And the PLO go off?
No, so
Get back down the bus after that?
it was just a slow grind the next few years. I moved to Vegas, came out here, played cash. Yeah, we were just seeing all types of action.
Yeah, the second outer table, it looks like ace king against 2 kings. Not ace king necessarily, but there is a heart out there. And it is a queen, so a couple of runners. Oh, and there's one of them.
I think it's the Kings that's at risk as well, right? For my left
It looks that way. Seven doesn't help the ace king. It is indeed, Dominic.
Is that
161,000?
Is there any relation to Dino Day? Or the?
Oh no, it is.
Yeah.
It's that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he final table the main the year that my friend Phil Collins found him at the we were sweating it.
Oh, man.
And this is kind of like what I'm saying, where you're seeing just a lot more fight in players. We were seeing the A2s call out of big guys a few years ago.
Still second place.
But I'm a big fan.
If you have post-flop discipline, you can get away with it. You're the kind of player that gets married to top pair, or you know,
Not just
can't
discipline.
find but with a flush, perhaps.
Yeah, it's not just discipline, it's post-flop maneuverability too, right? Like, you need to be able to flop equity and take your opponent off the better. And that's just something that very few people, I think, in local field events will take.
Amazon coins, final table payouts over $8 million for first place, a cool 4.7%, 3.5 for third. They're all good figures. I guarantee $1 million, and that mid cash for 15,000. You know, I wonder. 1,084th, I make 15,000. I feel like there are some cash game players who be like, just knock me out first. I don't even want to. I don't even want for what? You want to within sniffing distance.
Anybody who would rather be knocked out than $5,000 off it after the years,
It's probably playing pretty big stakes cash game poker with a high hourly rate.
I play pretty big cash in poker.
You want to just spend 3 days making 5K?
100%. It's the main event. This is poker lottery. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just like see things through rose-colored glasses. But being in when the bubble bursts.
Fold, nice.
To being in when there's $1 million on the line. When there's $8 million. You know, it's like if you have skill in this game, when you're playing $1 million sit-and-go, it really rises to the top. Like, it's very difficult for people to step up in that dynamic and play well.
Ace, Jack, Deuce, Rainbow. There's the outer table. We're sticking.
This is very optimistic by Kuchkov, and if he takes a shot at it, it might work. But he race called from the button with the king four suited off of.
Yeah, he made it 4,300 to go. Howard pushed back from the big to 15.5, and there is a little bit of context between these two. You remember that big pot where Kuchkov had the 2 queens, didn't go away when the ace hit the turn?
Yeah.
And here he's facing that.
That's a big down with the button. Really big. I mean, I assume he fucked over the draw. He just has to get it up, but
He does. Backdoor diamond, backdoor wheel with Nick was going to certainly put on the rose-colored glasses and point that out.
I'm all for that line of thought. The problem
Backdoor
is,
Broadway.
yeah, the problem is that you're just like a little too shallow to do anything.
And he wasn't always in that situation. Kuchkov had some chips at one point in time.
He's kind of run into it a little bit. The queens versus threes, the trips versus flush, the aces versus the call when he shoves free.
Right.
He did get the courtesy threes up though.
Yeah, just to make sure it wasn't a raising luck situation. Duarte now, the late add to the outer table. Brazil. Makes it 4,000 to go. Ace 10 suited. Bartholomew, also a late act. Green flats with 5-6 suited. Hallard's in there. Curcio with Jack Trey. Liberal. Very liberal. He does flop middle pair here, but he's outflopped by Howard. Major way. Yep. Duarte does have the Broadway draw here. Reed. A 6 is good enough for a guy like Chino, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if he floats. I actually really don't like Duarte's being here.
No, it does feel like this King Jack board rates to
I
smash
knew
at
he
least
was
one of
gonna
these
peel.
three.
I knew he was gonna peel. He's so sick. Like, if there's a board where we're calling with the 6-5 of diamonds is gonna be really difficult to win, this has to be one.
Yeah, and remember that Duarte's the opener up front, and he's betting into a field of 3 other players.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't have to be the naked ace-10 where the 6s are good. I mean, and you've also got 2 players behind you who,
Right. Well,
in all likelihood at this point, I think Howard puts the action in on such a wet board, no?
Yeah, for sure. Without question, he's check raising here. And I don't think Chino's really even calling because he thinks he has the best hand. I think he's calling because, there's suck out there. The whole problem is, like, on a two-tone board like this, where you have no idea if the 5 of clubs or 6 of clubs are good, it becomes impossible to navigate turns of rhythm. And so that's kind of unfortunate too, because given stack sizes and lack of equity, the ace 10 will have to fold. I think if he checked, Chino actually probably checks back, and we see a turn now where ace 10 actually gets a chance to realize something equity.
Because Howard had already checked at that point.
Right.
I think Chino wants to bet into 3 other players.
Right, in a heads-up scenario of check 2, I think Chino might take a stab on a board like that.
Sure, different situation.
But yeah, I don't think it's really close to time.
So, Kenny Howard, career earnings of
Yes.
over $3.1 million, 35 years of age, living in London. He got there recently as a tournament director for Unibet.
Where does he find the time?
Right.
TV, professional. Did he final table in the main last year?
Yeah, been selling a little more since then. Played 10 mains total. Parents were skeptical in the early years, but said they were convinced quickly and now are his biggest fans.
He makes those
on Specky as a striker. Of course he's a striker. Yeah. Right? Of course not.
Aggression just follows.
What do you think he used to do before he played public professional?
Man, I couldn't even.
You ever read?
No.
Would an
it seems like
electrician have fallen into that?
No. I would. Anybody who's good at this game, I just assume was unemployed prior.
He was a factory worker as an electrician, had fixed hours.
Where's he from?
Belgium.
Okay. Yeah, that's very
Right? Pretty incredible.
gives you a lot better perspective whenever you're out here fighting for the 6-figure pot.
Yep. It says that becoming a tournament player has helped him to become a better tournament director. Obviously, you can kind of understand the perspective of other players.
Was he a director prior to me?
No, I'm
The opposite, right?
Yeah. 7-8 suited has some problems after opening. Seeing the resistance from Boustier's aces, but don't want to be in the habit necessarily of opening over.
Oh, they're reasonably deep. They're 50 bonds effective, so this is a scenario where he's just going to try to get a little lucky.
And he is a little lucky that he doesn't have anything to continue with on the A-side board. That'll be a pretty easy check for him.
Yeah, that'll be one where he loses the minimum for sure. These are always such tough spots where you're in a 3-bet pot on a texture board with top set. It's just like you really just want to check back for value, but you run that fear that there were hands that would have called flop that will then fold on flush draw turn.
Everybody making their way out of the Brazilian room as the break has begun. 20 minutes to relieve oneself as we get back under the feature table. There is a hand in progress between Hashem and those two tens. The best odds locking the Broadway from Hashem. Hashem was the pre-flop raiser. Kyriakidis simply defended the big blind with the 2 tens.
It's a really tough spot for him. I imagine he's going to call one because of the 10 of diamonds, but justifiably facing an early open, you could just check fold this board and kind of block the equitable hands that Joe would be betting here, like Jack 10, Ace 10, like fold.
But you also want to make sure that your opponent's got that second barrel in him if he's...
Yeah, you want to keep him honest for sure, but it's just going to be really difficult to realize showdown value of this hand on this type of board.
Yeah. Or value bet at any point moving forward.
Yeah, next to no chance he'll ever get value bet. And I would expect Joe to continue on this part, certainly.
Picks up the nut flush.
Far too favorable for him. And with the shorter stack, he's just going to get the level.
Does have Kyriakidis well covered. 2 tens feel like they've got a date with the muscle to this correctly.
Yeah, I imagine if he's holding a hand as strong as Ace Queen, he's in a pretty strong spot.
Oh, look at Joe wants to wrap it up. He hits the 10 of the spades.
That's so brutal to hear when you have 2 tens with the guy that asking for the river. It's like,
Yeah, you're not asking for the river if you're already there.
yeah, it's like, please let it be a pair of flush draw, not like just an open-ended flush draw.
Yeah.
Like that. Yep. I've had some spaces.
Dollar Shave Club feature table chip counts. Almost 300,000 for Jared Palmer. The late ad. Courtney down to 41.7. And Hashem moving up 42 and change. That kind of awesome. Let's go rummage through that thing. See if we can find that. Teach these kids a lesson. Keep your belongings.
If you go behind him, I'm going to raise it.
Dollar Shave Club outer table chip counts. Shows Lucier at 287.5, Holland 455, 526. Those are the big holes It's Forte 57.6 off, but Kuznetsov was trended downward the short stacks. So we're going to step aside and leave you in the astute hands of Kara, Max, and Maria over at the break desk. And Matt and I will return at the back end of the break. Stay with us.
An exciting start to day 3 of the 2017 World Series of Poker main event. We lost Evgeny Timoshenko from our tertiary feature table. You can see him leaving there. But over on the secondary feature table, Kenny Hollard and Chino Green have been tangling all afternoon. Hi, everyone. I'm Kara Scott, along with a couple of reasonably talented poker players here, Max Steinberg and Maria Ho. Welcome back to our usual spot in the Brazilian room in the shadow of the mothership. 7 days from now, we'll start our final table. And in 9 days, we're going to have our main event champion. Thank you for watching commercial-free coverage of the main event here on Poker Go. Now, we like to talk poker hands on these breaks, and we will get to those in a minute. But first, let's get you caught up on what's going on outside of the feature tables. You can see some big names over there. Doug Pope doing really well. He's one of our commentators here on the break desk usually, but he couldn't be here today because he is playing, and he's got a pretty good stack. Mike Maniso as well. We've seen him on our featured tables, and Sam grafted to 100K. Jason Mercier down at the bottom of the notables with 89,000. It's been a little quiet actually in this first level at our feature table. It's been a little bit more interesting over on the secondary and the tertiary feature tables. And you know what? Alan Cunningham has been on our tertiary feature table, and he's been doing absolutely amazing. He came in with about 130,000 today, and in the first 5, maybe 10 minutes, he managed to 4x his stack. He's sitting on over 600,000 now. He won the very first hand of the day. He then won another hand with aces over ace king, and then he won with quads over quads, because that is the general theme of our main event. Huge hands. So, right, general impressions from you, Max. What has it been like here so far?
Well, I think we've seen, kind of slow play. I mean, from the main table at least, some of the tables have faster play, but I'm not surprised given it's the first couple hours of day 3. People are thinking about, oh, I might cash the main event, which is really exciting. I was thinking on day 2, I was playing day 2, I was thinking about final tabling when I had 100K in my stack. So people are thinking about the future, and I think it makes people play a little slower and a little later.
Okay, Maria, what have you been seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely expected to see a little bit more action at the feature table with Joe Hassan, Reiner Kempe, but it didn't look like anybody wanted to get involved. But I think that's fairly standard. I think, as Max had mentioned, is money day. That might be in the back of players' minds. They want to preserve their stacks so that going into the bubble, they have a stack where maybe they can take advantage of the shorter stacks at that point.
Okay, and some of it also might be hand dependent. Let's take a look at 2 hands now from our secondary feature table. This first one was a really big pot. Both of these hands are going to be Chino Reed and Kenny Hollard. Talk us through this one, Max.
Yeah, so Chino Reed 3 bets. He has a reputation for being a pretty loose player, so I think he'd be doing this with a lot of hands. Kenny 4 bets out of the big blind, which I think is pretty standard given Chino's loose play, especially with blinds. But what I don't love about Kenny's play here is the small sizing pre-flop and the small sizing on the flop. I think he's sort of just begging Chino to come along with hands that are a lot worse than ace king, obviously, but he does have that ace king here. But I think he's just allowing all these floats, and I think he's going to get himself in trouble like he sort of does here. And I think Chino's bet on the turn, it's great. I think he has a loose image. He's going to get calls, and on this river, Kenny's in big trouble because he sort of just looks like he has exactly what he has, which is queens, and it puts him in a really tough spot because he knows that Chino knows that. I think Chino chooses a great sizing. It's 100K. It looks like it might be a bluff. It looks like it could be value. It gets Kenny to question. He actually thought a long time and made the correct fold, but I think Chino played this hand great. I would have liked to see Kenny maybe flat pre-flop or just decide to make bigger sizings and just not beg Chino to just come along.
Okay, what do you think he could have done to not make it look like his hand was basically flipped out?
I think there's no way. I think once the turn comes that king, he should check, and it's just unfortunate because the king and the ace, and Chino, of course, having ace king,
Right.
he's not going to have aces or kings, and so it's just an unfortunate spot for him. But I think if he wants to conserve his stack and be conscious, I think it's a valuable thing to do, especially on day 3. He could flat pre, but I think, kicking it up to maybe 55,000 pre instead of 42,000 and making a bigger C bet, it's going to help quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So talk to me about this hand as well, Maria. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, so I think in this situation, it's very opponent dependent whether you want to be 4-betting or flatting. I think with a loose player like Chino, I think a 4-bet is actually better because he is going to peel pretty wide. You're going to get a lot of hands that are, way too and I actually didn't mind. I have a bit of a different opinion than Max on this. I think I didn't mind Kenny's sizing because I think with Chino's loose image, I think you kind of want him to peel wide. You don't feel that vulnerable to most of the hands that he's peeling with pre-flop, and sometimes you're just kind of a victim to the run out in Kenny's situation. I think even with Chino's image, Kenny can't call there on the river, and he made a great fold.
Okay, well, I love it when the pros disagree. They're being very polite about it right now. Some time. We'll get the knives out. Okay, let's take a look at another hand. Maria, I want you to talk us through this one. Reem has raised ace 10 pre-flop, then Kenny calls with queen jack.
Yeah, so I think in this situation, Kenny calling with queen jack free is fine. Sometimes people opt to fold offsuit queen jack here, but given Chino's image, I think that's also another factor that played into the call here. And obviously, flops the joint here, straight. But unfortunately for Chino, flopping top pair, it's a very easy, bet call, check call situation. And then on the turn, when the flush comes in as well, this is kind of the interesting part of the hand. Obviously, Kenny still has to bet here, but Chino has the nut flush blocker, which kind of takes out some of Kenny's flushes, and I think that's why he looks him up again. Plus, he does have, the additional flush redraw. On the river, when the king of heart comes, though, Kenny is, of course, going to fire again, and Reem makes what is a little bit of a loose call. I think there's not many hands you can beat. And in actuality, I kind of would have liked to see Chino maybe check raise as a bluff and turn his hand into a bluff with the nut flush blocker, because I think that's actually better than a call.
Do you think that would have worked in this situation?
Given Kenny's hand and given that it's Chino, I don't think it would have worked. But if Kenny had maybe more of a thin value bet in this spot, which Kenny will have, I think it could have.
Okay, and considering the type of player that Chino is, how much does he have to be thinking about the fact that his opponents are obviously going to be playing hands against him a little differently than they would anyone else at the table?
I think that's why you see Chino still continue to do so well in tournaments, is because he is very aware of his image, and he is very, very conscious of the fact that other people know his image, and he is playing against that reputation accordingly.
Okay, any thoughts on that hand there to sum up?
I would say I agree with Maria. Basically everything she said. I think the raise on the river is an interesting play. It may have worked just because, even though Chino's loose, I don't think people are just looking at all the flush board when it's not a normal place where someone would bluff. But I do think it's a loose call on the river. I think Kenny could just, it's sort of another spot where the roles are reversed, where Kenny sort of knows exactly what Chino has. It looks like Jack 10 or something like that. And he's just going to play really effectively against that. I think it's just too loose.
Okay, we've been talking about Chino as a player. Now let's take a look at Kenny as a player. He was actually Maria's pick to do well in this main event. Nice pick there.
Yeah, maybe I had some inside info. No, Kenny told me he was feeling great coming into the main event. Obviously, he made the final table last year. He feels like he's made a ton of improvements to his game, and so he is poised to make another deep run.
All right, so looking forward to the next level. Max, talk to me about what you think we're going to be seeing out there.
Well, I think we're probably just going to see more tight, solid play. I think, as I said before, I feel like it's the main, it's day 3. People are looking to cash. I don't think it's going to get too messy out there.
Okay, we'll have to see if that happens. Maria, what do you think?
Well, I think we have a new feature table coming in. So with Scotty Wen, ex-professional basketball player of Basura, I think Scotty's going to chat it up, and I think that works well for Scotty's game in terms of especially playing against unknowns and amateurs. He has a better idea of, once he gets them to talk, maybe what they've had and experience in general.
Okay, we're also going to be getting Kathy Lieber, Coca Pro, on the table as well. It should be a really interesting one to watch. So it's not quite time to get back to the action, but that's all we have time for right now. Here's a look at some action from the table from the last level. Scotty and company are coming over to the feature table right now. We're going to see you right back here in the Rio in about 2 hours.
Forward. Oh man. Let me take this. Forward, please. Oh man.
And welcome back on the back end of the first break of the day. 5 levels being played here on day 3 of the Rio continuation of 2017's World Series of Poker main event. And Johnny Chan is not walking in, he's walking out. Matt Berkey eliminated here on day 3.
Very unfortunate for Mr. Chan.
2-time world champion as we get a look at notable stacks still in contention, including Doug Polk, winner of this year's Big One for One Drop, 338 per hand. He's handled the break desk quite well, I must say, for us here on Poker Go. Alan Cutler from Chicago was on the feature table yesterday, 331 per hand. Ben Lamb, Madison in there. Nick Charlotte at $1.65. Hollywood producer Nick Cassavetes in there as well. I missed the last 2 names on there. I almost got through it. I felt like that Micro Machines urgency coming over me.
I love that guy when I was a kid. I love Micro Machines as a whole for some strange reason. Yeah.
Right. Just like all the little tchotchkes of the world, and like how the globe will just be covered in them at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I loved like taking the back of them and just like flipping them multiple times.
So that was you have an interesting series of stories, Matt Berkey. Like I used to trade Micro Machines. I was a Micro Machines day trader. I used to play real-time currencies.
Baseball cards, maybe.
Oh yeah, baseball cards.
I actually do have a funny baseball card story. When I was 11, I got an elite. I believe it was Donruss Diamond Edition of Nolan Ryan, and come to find out, it was worth like $500. It was like a 1 in 36 card or something like that.
Okay.
I traded it for a Barry Bonds rookie card because he was my favorite player.
A rated rookie card.
It was. I think I already had the Donruss rookie. I think it was Scores actually.
Oh, the fancy stuff.
But you know, wasn't worth nearly as much. And my mom found out and demanded the kid to trade the card back to me.
How'd that go?
Mostly well. He gave it back to me with damage. So.
Oh no!
Yeah, the corner was a little jacked up. I ultimately ended up selling it for like $200. But at 11, you know, I felt like I opened the lemonade stand right
yeah.
to the top.
You kidding me? That's jitting it, as Bartholomew.
Was a really disciplined fold?
Not defending?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly deep enough to raise the defender.
Buck 31 in his stack.
Let me rephrase that. That was a very respectful fold.
Well, Howard is a guy that has sort of garnered some respect.
Yeah.
Ja, meine Fresse, alter Schwede. Oh man. Oh man, these guys.
8 is our run here on Poker Go. East Coast time, and Matt and I will then pass the torch over to Lon and Antonio from 8 to 11, and then another half hour back on Poker Go from 11 to 11.
Oh my god.
To retrieve the sad bit of Kit Kat bar that I
Man, I'm so glad you brought that up because there was no way.
Oh my god. How fucking awesome is that? Oh man. Oh man. Fuck yeah.
I gotta tell you, that series of events just did you a real favor. You don't need to be putting that thing in your butt.
Oh my god.